right, so are you ready for this one? Because today we're diving into some pretty interesting stuff. We're talking auras and good energy.
Oh, yeah, I love this stuff.
Okay, so just chapter 6 from a book called The Dreamer's Journey, A White Aura and Good Energy.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah, right. And it really got me thinking because, the author, he seems to have a knack for attracting unusual experiences.
Yeah, I get that vibe too.
But this story, this one's framed as a positive one, so that's interesting to me, and I'm excited to see where this goes.
Definitely, let's dive in.
Okay, so the author's at his cousin's 21st birthday party,
Hmm.
and he's feeling a little bit out of place, classic introvert at a big party, right?
I can totally relate to that.
Yeah. So he ends up chatting with this guy who seems kind of uncomfortable too. Like he doesn't really want to be there either. And out of nowhere, this guy just drops a bombshell. He tells the author that he sees a white light around him.
Wow.
I know, right? Like, can you imagine being at a party and having someone tell you that?
I mean, talk about an icebreaker, right?
For real, though. So it made me think, is this just some random party chatter, or could it be something more?
Right, well, it's interesting that he describes it as a white light. I mean, that really aligns with the concept of auras.
Okay. Yeah, tell me more about that.
So, as you probably know, auras are these fields of energy that some people believe surround living beings.
Right, but it's not like a physical halo you can see, right?
No, exactly. It's more of a subtle energy field that some people claim they can sense or perceive.
Okay, got it. And this white light, does that, like, hold any special meaning in the world of auras?
Yeah, so white is often associated with purity, innocence, like a strong spiritual connection, that sort of thing.
Interesting. So maybe this guy at the party was picking up on something about the author's energy. Maybe something even the author himself wasn't fully aware of.
It's possible, right? We all give off energy whether we're conscious of it or not.
Right. Okay, so that's pretty wild, but the story gets even wilder. This guy claims he can sense people's energy in general. Like he can feel if someone has good or bad intentions.
That's a big claim.
Yeah, and that's where I would say, hold on, is there any actual science to back that up?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean,
No.
science hasn't definitively proven that kind of energy sensing, but there is some interesting research out there.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, there's this field called biophotonics, and they study ultra-weak light emitted by living organisms.
Okay.
And some researchers believe that this light might actually carry information about our physiological and even emotional states.
Wow. So maybe this guy was picking up on those biophotons or some other subtle energy signal we haven't fully figured out yet.
That's one possibility.
Okay, but how would you differentiate that from just being like really perceptive? Like maybe he's just super attuned to body language and tone of voice.
That's a great question, and it's definitely possible that what we perceive as energy sensing could actually be a heightened sensitivity to those subtle cues that we all give off, like even micro changes in tone or facial
Right,
expressions.
it's like a superpowered intuition almost.
Yeah, you could say that.
Now, in the story, this guy mentions that his ability makes him prefer solitude. He says he wants to avoid negative energy.
Makes sense.
So could that be a form of empathic sensitivity? Like maybe he's absorbing other people's emotions and it's just too overwhelming for him to be around a lot of people.
It's certainly possible. Empaths are often described as being highly sensitive to the emotions and energies of others, so it's not unusual for them to seek out solitude as a way to recharge.
And, it's funny because you'd expect someone who prefers solitude to be kind of quiet and reserved.
Hmm.
But the story describes this guy as someone who looks like the life of the party.
Yeah, that's
It's
interesting.
like he's putting on this persona to blend in, but underneath he's got this whole other layer of sensitivity going on.
Exactly. And I think that challenges our preconceived notions of who might be sensitive to these subtle energies.
Totally. I mean, we tend to associate sensitivity with introversion, but maybe it's not that simple.
It's definitely more complex than that.
So much more to unpack here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to circle back to the author for a moment. He's obviously fascinated by this encounter with the aura-seeing guy, but he's also left with all these questions about his own aura. He's like, does it change color? Does he still have it? What does it all mean?
Well, those are great questions, and I think they get to the heart of what makes this whole topic so intriguing.
So do you think aura colors can actually change?
Some people believe they can. They think it depends on a person's emotional state, their health, even their spiritual growth.
So like if someone's feeling stressed or anxious, could their aura reflect that?
Exactly. It's like the aura is this dynamic, ever-changing reflection of our inner world.
Wow. Okay, so then what about all those different colors you hear about? Like what do they mean? Like if you saw someone with a predominantly yellow aura, what would that tell you?
Well, yellow is often associated with intellect, creativity, a sunny disposition.
So like a bright spark kind of person.
Exactly. But, we have to be careful about oversimplifying these things.
Right.
The true meaning of an aura, if they even exist, is probably far more nuanced and individualistic than any color chart can capture.
Yeah, that makes sense. But still, it's so fascinating to think about. And, I have to ask,
Yeah, go for it. I'm
what's
yours.
on your mind?
Yeah.
If we could,
Hmm.
if we could actually see these auras, wouldn't that change everything?
That's a great question, and it kind of leads us into something I've been thinking about a lot lately.
Oh, what's that?
The ethics of it all.
Hmm.
I mean, if we could sense people's energy, wouldn't that come with a huge responsibility?
You're right. It's like, how would we use that knowledge? Would it make us more understanding or would it lead to more judgment?
It's definitely something to consider.
It really is. Okay, so I want to shift gears a bit and talk about something else the author brings up in this story.
Okay.
He talks about how the guy he met, the one who sees auras, he prefers to be alone a lot. And he wonders if that's because he feels different, like if he struggles to connect with people who don't understand his experiences.
Yeah, that's a really important point, and I think it highlights the potential loneliness that can come with having these kinds of abilities.
It's like you need that reassurance that you're not alone,
Yeah.
that other people have been down this path too.
Exactly, and maybe that's part of why the author shared his story.
Hmm.
Maybe he's trying to connect with others who've had similar encounters.
Or who are at least open to the possibility.
Right, it takes courage to share something so personal, especially when it involves experiences that might be met with skepticism.
Yeah, for sure. But I think those stories are so important.
I agree.
They help us to expand our understanding of what's possible, and they create space for more open-minded conversations.
Absolutely. And you never know, those conversations could lead to some incredible insights or even scientific breakthroughs down the line.
Totally. I mean, look at how many scientific discoveries were initially dismissed as fringe or impossible.
Right.
So I guess my takeaway from all of this is that we should approach these topics with a healthy balance of curiosity and critical thinking.
Yeah.
But we should never completely close ourselves off to the possibility that there's more to reality than we currently understand.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive, but don't worry, this is just part one.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
We'll be back next week to explore even more about auras and good energy.
Mm.
So until then, keep those minds open, those hearts curious, and those energy fields glowing.
See you next time.
Bye.